Moss is a really useful plant to have in the garden. I use it a lot around ponds, and I grow it along rocks. It's also really good for planting underneath trees or in places that get a lot of shade and you can't grow grass or anything. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Chances are pretty good you have some moss in your yard already, so just go out and have a look around. You'll find moss in shady, damp areas. So if you look under hedges or in those corners of the yard you never use or never go into, chances are pretty good you'll find some there. And all you need to do from there is just pull it up off the ground. You may find little bits, it doesn't matter. All you need is the green part of the moss. And after we do that, I'll bring it back in here and I will show you how to start growing your own moss. This is a shady, damp area in the garden that I like to use to grow moss. Moss grows really well in these conditions, and I've already got a lot growing here right now. I'm going to pull some up and use that to create some more moss for use later on in the season. Well, I've got enough to show you how to grow some more, so let's go inside and see how it's done. So now that we've collected the moss, what we need to do is take some of the moss, make sure you get most of the dirt off the moss when you're putting it in. Put the moss into the blender. I go little bits at a time. Now the recipe calls for about half a cup of beer, which I've got here. I'll just add that in. Sometimes it's not enough, depending on how much moss you're planning on growing. Just keep adding more beer until you can get it to whiz up in the right consistency. Basically, the consistency you're looking for is like a thick soup. Now the recipe calls for about half a cup of beer, but I'm going to be making quite a bit here, so I'm going to use a full cup. I've already put half a cup in there, and it wasn't enough, so I'm going to add another full cup, because basically you're looking for a thick, soupy consistency to it. And then you add half a teaspoon of sugar. You put the lid on. Then just give it a little bit of a blend. I like to use short pulses because you're not really trying to mince the moss. What you're just trying to do is break it up a bit and make it just make it thick so it's spreadable and it's not the sheets. Now I've managed to put too much beer in there now, so I need to add more moss to make it thicker again. So there we go. We've got a nice soupy consistency to it. It's thick, but it's still movable. You can stir it up, and that's pretty much what we want. So now let's go back outside, and I'll show you how to spread it out on the ground. Okay, so I'm back outside, and I'm going to spread my moss, or my moss mixture, on the area that we took it off, and just sort of dump it out, and move it around the area that you want it to be in. And then I just make sure that I take my spoon or spatula, or whatever you have, and spread it out. And this is about how big the patch is that's going to grow from here now. Now make sure it gets spread in an area that's cool and damp, and it doesn't get a lot of sunlight. It doesn't need a lot of sunlight. It likes the shade, and it likes the moisture. And make sure to do this fairly early on in the spring. It takes a few months to grow, and you want to be able to use it in the summertime, so I do this a few times a year so that I make sure that I always have some moss to use in arrangements or put in the garden or wherever. So we'll check back on this in a few months' time and I'll show you how well it's coming along. Just as an update, the last show we planted some strawflower seeds, and they've been germinating for about a week now. So I thought I'd let you have a look and see how they're doing. There's only a few that have come up so far, but you can see them. They're just small little plants, but they're starting to come along. So we'll keep following these as they're growing, and hopefully soon I'll be able to plant them out in the garden. If you want the recipe for growing moss, it's on my website, which is at the bottom of the screen. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email me. Thanks for watching my show, and I'll see you again next time.